This region is one of the most important areas in the country for commercial arable farming. Known as the breadbasket of Britain, we grow a lot of the food which ends up on plates across the country. Ahead of COP26, the BBC has recruited young reporters to tell environmental stories that matter to them. Zoe Johnson went to find out how farmers are having to change what they grow and how they grow it.
Our farmers battle with weather conditions all year round to put food on our plates. But with rising temperatures and extreme weather becoming more likely, they're facing unprecedented challenges.
There is no doubt that our climate is changing. And as a region that relies heavily on the farming industry, this could have a dramatic effect.
New approaches are needed, and at East Anglia near Norwich, they're at the forefront of this change.
This drill is designed for zero tillage. We've just rewritten the degree programme and we've concentrated on what we think farming is going to be like in the next 10, 20, 30 years, thinking about things like climate change, the increasing drive for sustainable practice.
Agricultural degree students Rowan, Harvey and Ella are the farmers of the future, learning a lot more about sustainable practices than those who came before them.
We're going to have to change the crops that we grow and change the varieties that we grow, which is something that we're not used to and we're not quite adept to as a farm yet.
Something can be done to use less fuel, travel less miles or something with tractors on roads and things. It'd be really good, I think.
We're already doing stuff, there's already incentives out there to be more sustainable, and there's definitely practices we're carrying out to do that.
Do you know agriculture produces about 10% of the UK's greenhouse gas emissions? Many farmers are keen to show what they're doing about it.
Outlined in their net zero strategy, the government expects 75% of farmers in England to be engaged in low carbon practices by 2030, with the wider economy reaching net zero by 2050.
We haven't ploughed it. It's one of the things we're doing, is trying to do less tillage.
Tom, who owns a farm in the Cambridgeshire Fens, has noticed a number of changes on his farm over the last few years.
Everyone's talking about taking carbon dioxide out of the air, and actually that's what plants do, and they put it into the soil. So as long as you don't disturb the soil too much, we do less ploughing now, less cultivation of the soil. I view farming as part of the solution to climate change rather than as part of the problem.
Earlier this year, the National Farmers Union introduced a commitment to reach net zero emissions by 2040, a step further than the UK-wide goal.
Our farmers are doing all they can to tackle this problem in their own fields. But as COP26 in Glasgow gets underway, it's clear that we need global solutions to tackle these global problems. Zoe Johnson, BBC Look East.
Well, earlier this afternoon I spoke to Zoe, who's a 25-year-old meteorologist. She told me what it was like making that film as our climate change reporter.
It's actually been a really positive experience for me. Previously I've felt quite anxious about the state of the climate and things like that, but speaking to people, finding out about what they're doing has been so eye-opening for me, such a positive experience. To see people that are really willing to make a change and listen to the science has been fantastic.
Because your day job is as a meteorologist, so you are aware of what's going on with the climate, and is it that's made you anxious?
Yeah, so I did a degree in meteorology at the UEA and I learnt from some incredible world-leading scientists about what's going on. But then when I graduated and became a meteorologist, I was forecasting this extreme weather, watching it unfold before my eyes and thinking something's not right about this. And that's really what has motivated me to do something about that. But also, as part of my job, I speak to farmers every single day on the phones. The weather is so important to them, and just hearing them over the phone saying this is not right, things are changing, this is very extreme, is what motivated me to tell their story, really.
Obviously we're all looking ahead to COP26 now. For you, what would you like to see come out of that?
I would really like to see some ambitious plans for us to help limit the global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. I'd really like people to sort of shoot for the stars, make some really ambitious plans and take it from there. It sounds a little bit cliche, but I think the most important thing is that they all work together.
And when you look at previous COPs, some people in your field of work would have found those disappointing. Do you feel that there is a real sea change in people's attitudes and just the general public more engaged this time?
I definitely think so, and I think you're absolutely right. Scientists have been desperate for people to listen to them for years and years, and it's all been quite, an anxious thing for them, the past COP conferences. But I do think there's a little bit of a shift in the mood now. We are being listened to, and that's great. Let's just hope that, this is reflected in what comes out of COP26.
Well, Zoe, thank you very much for your film.
Thank you, Susie.